One. So today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the chunky bunny hat in a newborn to 6-month size. This is such an easy pattern. It is a combination of single crochet and double crochet, and then I will be teaching you how to do the reverse single crochet for the finishing edge of the hat. So we are ready to get started. Okay, so this pattern calls for a number 5 bulky yarn. Any yarn will do as long as it has this gauge that it has on this band. I was really lucky and managed to find some old Bernat Chunky yarn, which this pattern was actually originally written for. So we are going to be starting the base of the hat using the 6.5mm hook. So we're just starting with a slip knot. And then we're going to be chaining 2. So that's 1 and 2. Counting down to the second chain from the hook, we're going to be working 8 half double crochet. So that's 1. Also, if you know how to do a magic circle, you can definitely use a magic circle. I just always have started my hats like this and find it really easy. So that's 2 and 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. Just going to double check, and I've got 1 more to go, and that's 8. So that's our first round done. Just double check that you have 8 stitches because your beginning count is really going to determine the size of your hat. So for round 2, we're not going to join, we're just going to work continuously, and we're going to work 2 single crochets into that first stitch. And that's 1 and 2. And I always like to put my stitch marker back in, of course. 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to continue to work 2 single crochets in every stitch around. So at the end of round 2 you should have 16 stitches. So I'm going to finish this up and we'll meet up at the beginning of round 3, and that's when we'll actually start working on the texture of the hat. Okay, so I am at the end of round 2 and I've double checked and I have 16 stitches. So we can move on to round 3. Now at the end of round 2 things are a little different. We are going to join with a slip stitch to the very first single crochet, and then we're going to be chaining 1 and turning. Then for round 3 we're going to skip the first single crochet and we're going to work in the next. We're going to be working 1 single crochet followed by a double crochet in that same stitch. So you're working 2 stitches into 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet. Then you're going to skip the next stitch, work another single crochet and another double crochet into the same stitch again. Skip the next stitch and work another single crochet and another double crochet. That is going to be your pattern repeat for the rest of the round, so you can work all the way around to the end. You should finish with 16 stitches, and then we'll continue on to round 4. So I'm at the end here, and I'm just going to finish off with 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet in that last stitch, and we'll continue on to round 4 by joining with a slip stitch, chaining 1 and turning. Now for round 4, we're going to be doubling our stitches by working 2 single crochet in the first stitch. Always like to mark it off. 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to continue to work that way all the way around, placing 2 single crochets in every stitch around, and that's going to take your stitch count from 16 to 32. Now the hat is looking really flat right now, and it does because the way the increases are done, but don't worry about that, it's going to be perfect when you finish it. So I'll meet you at the end of round 4 and we'll continue on with round 5. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 4 here. We're just going to continue and join to round 5 with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to be skipping the first stitch again, working in the second stitch. We're going to place 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet. We're going to skip the next stitch and place 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet in the next. So we're going to continue to work this way all the way along. Do not forget to skip, otherwise you'll be doubling your stitches again. So you can work this way all the way to round 5. We'll do another increase round with round 6 and move on from there. See you at the end of this round. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 5, and I'm just going to finish this round working a single crochet and a double crochet in that last stitch. And then I'm going to join again with a slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now round 6 is going to be another increase round, so we're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch, another single crochet in the next stitch, and 1 more single crochet after that. Then we're going to be working 2 single crochets into the next stitch. That's 1, then 2, followed by another single crochet and 1 more single crochet, followed by 1 more single crochet, followed by 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So you'll continue on like this till the end of the round, working 1 single crochet in 3 stitches, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. Okay, so here I am at the end of round 6, and I'm just going to finish off with 2 single crochets in that last stitch. Okay, to start round 7, we're going to start with a slip stitch, chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to skip that first stitch, working a single crochet and a double crochet in the next stitch. We are going to skip the next stitch and continue with a single crochet, double crochet in the next. So you're going to work this same pattern all the way around, skipping 1 stitch, then working a single crochet, double crochet in next, all the way around, and you should have 40 stitches, and we'll continue on from there. But before we go, we'll do a quick gauge check, just measuring this piece across and make sure that our sizing is turning out okay. So it's at about 4.5 inches at this point. Okay, so just at the end of round 7 here, we're going to work a single crochet and a double crochet in our last stitch. Moving on to rounds 8 through 14 now, we're going to join to that first stitch with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now that first stitch of the previous round was a single crochet, and we want to be working in the double crochet. So we're going to single crochet and double crochet into that stitch. We're going to skip the next single crochet and then work those 2 stitches, the single crochet and the double crochet, into the double crochet. So moving forward, you want to make sure that you're working those 2 stitches always into the double crochet, and that's what's going to keep your texture looking exactly as you see it in the pictures. So continue working around, and you're going to be working 14 rounds, and then we'll meet up. We'll do the final edging in the crab stitch. So we'll see you there. Okay, so now that we have finished all our rounds, we'll just finish off by joining with a slip stitch, and we'll start working that reverse single crochet. So we're going to chain 1, and then what we're going to be doing is working into the first stitch, but we're slipping our hook in backwards from front to back, and then we're just going to grab our yarn with our hook and pull it back through, and then finish it off just as we would a single crochet. So you're going to insert your hook from front to back, grab the yarn, pull it through, and finish off the single crochet. And that's the reverse single crochet. We're going to work that all the way around, inserting back to front and finishing off the single crochet. So you can just work that all the way around, and then we'll finish off. Okay, so now that we finished the base of the hat, we're going to move on to the ears, and those are going to be made in 2 parts. So we're going to start with the outer ear, which is made from the same yarn that you made the hat with, And we're going to start by chaining 11. So let's just start with our slip knot. We're going to keep using our 6.5 millimeter hook, and we are going to chain 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now working from the second chain from the hook, so you don't count the loop on your hook, work down to the second chain, so that's 1 and 2. We're going to work a half double crochet. So you just put your yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over again, pull the loop through. You'll have 3 left on your hook, yarn over, and all 3 loops. You're going to continue to work a half double crochet into each stitch across. So we can just do that, and I'll meet up with you at the end of the row. Okay, so we're at the end of the row now, and all we want to do is just count and make sure that we have 10 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. At the end of row 1, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to continue to work a half double crochet again in each stitch across. So we can just work those across, and I'll meet up with you at the end of row 2. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 2. I'm going to finish off with a half double crochet in the last stitch, and I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now for rows 2 through 14, you're going to continue to work half double crochets, and you should have 10 stitches at the end of each row. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll meet up with you at the end of row 14, and we'll start to shape the bottom of the ear. Okay, so we're going to start working decreases, and how we're going to do that is, this is actually, I'm rewriting the pattern to make this easier. We're just going to skip the first stitch, half double crochet in the next, and then we're going to work a half double crochet in every stitch across until you get to the second last stitch. Okay, so I'm at the second last stitch. We're going to skip right over that and work a half double crochet into that very last stitch there. So at the end of row 15, you should have 8 half double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And then we are again going to skip our first stitch and half double crochet into the next. And we're going to half double crochet in each stitch across until we get to the second last stitch. And if you are working across and you're actually not sure when your second half stitches, you should have 5 stitches before you reach the second last. So you can just count those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes this your second last, and work a half double crochet in that very last stitch, which can be hard to find. Okay, so at the end of row 17, you'll have 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Again, we're going to skip that first stitch, work a half double crochet in the first and across to the second last. And you guessed it, at the end of row 17, we will have 4 stitches. So we're at 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to skip the second last and work a half double crochet in the last. So we have 4 stitches left. This row is going to be a little bit different. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to skip the first, and we're just going to work over the next 2 so that we have 3 stitches in our final row, and then we are ready to fasten off. Okay, so we have just finished the outer ear. We're going to move on to the inner ear. Then we're just going to be putting them together and doing a finishing round to make this nice and clean. So grab your contrast yarn if you're doing a contrast, and we'll move on to that one. Okay, so now that we've finished our outer ear, we're going to choose our contrast yarn. I'm using the Red Heart Soft Essentials. It's a number 5, but for this part, if you have a worsted weight, you can usually use those as well. Okay, so for the inner ear, we're still using our 6.5 millimeter hook, and we are going to start by chaining 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So just like the first part of the ear, we're going to work into the second chain from the hook, and we're going to be working a half double crochet. So we're going to place a half double crochet in the first and each stitch across. And so at the end of row 1, we should have 8 stitches. So we'll just finish this off and meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to work a half double crochet into the last stitch. So we should have 8 half double crochets across, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now, just like the first piece, we're going to continue to work a half double crochet into each stitch across, working until row 12. So I'll go off camera, finish that up, and then we'll meet up and finish off the inner part of the ear together. Okay, so I've worked my 12 rows, and now we're going to start the decrease rows to make that curved part at the bottom of the ear. So after the last stitch of row 12, we're just going to chain 1 and turn, and then we are going to skip the first stitch and half double crochet in the second, and each one across till we get to the second last half double crochet. So we'll just work across, and then we're going to skip the last one, second last one here, and work a half double crochet in the last stitch. So you should have 6 half double crochet at the end of row 13. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Going on to row 14, we're going to chain 1 and turn again. Skip our first stitch, half double crochet in the next. Then we're going to half double crochet along to the second last stitch again. And then we're going to skip over that second last stitch and work in the last stitch, half double crochet, chain 1 and turn. And then our very last row is row 15, where we're going to skip the first and work in the last 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So after this one, we can fasten off. And what we're going to want to do now, before we fasten off, we're going to want to leave a pretty long tail on this one, because we're going to be using this yarn to sew the inner ear to the outer ear, so length of the ear. That may be too much, but we can always cut it shorter. So we're not going to weave in this end because we're going to start joining, but I am going to go off camera again and just weave in all my ends here, and then we'll come back and we'll attach those. Okay, so I've woven in my ends, and we want to make sure that when we're attaching the inner ear to the outer ear that we are working the wrong sides together. So here's the ends of my yarn, which makes this the wrong side, and we'll just place that there. Now, I've left, I cut my yarn about 4.5 to 5 times the length of the ear, so I have enough to work around. Now, here's the trick with this. We're going to be sewing it together, but as we sew, we want to be very careful that our yarn isn't showing through the other side, because this is a contrast yarn. So to take pretty shallow stitches as you're working them, so that the yarn doesn't show through. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you can't see my stitch there, so just keep working very shallow stitches. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time pulling my yarn through, but boy, oh boy, it's giving me a tough time. Keep checking that your stitches aren't showing through, and you will be golden. And also, as you're sewing, keep checking the placement. Keep checking the placement of the inner ear to make sure that it's not shifting. Okay, so I'm gonna finish attaching this, and then we'll meet up and I'll show you how to find the placement of the ear and how to sew it on to the base of the hat. Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay, so I'm just coming around to my last stitch here. And I'm just gonna fasten off here. So we've attached the ear, and the very last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work a round of single crochet or reverse single crochet. So you can go back to where I showed you how to do the reverse single crochet for the hat, but for this one, I am just gonna work a round of single crochet, and that is gonna it's just gonna finish off the edge of the ear, making it look really nice and pretty and finished. And you want to do this with the right side of the ear facing you so that when the hat's being worn, this is what you see. Okay, so I'll do that, and then I'll just come back and show you how to fold the ear and attach it to the hat. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so I finished working that round of single crochet, and you can see how that kind of makes the ear curve, and that just adds so much character. I think it's going to be so cute. So when you fasten off, you want to keep a long tail, because of course we're going to be using this yarn to attach it to the hat. And just to make things simpler, I'm going to weave in this end, and then we are going to attach it. One of the things I love about this hat is because of the way the ribs are, it makes it really easy for locating where you're going to place things and doing it the same on each side. So I've just tucked my ends in here. Just tuck them in a little bit just to keep it nice and clean, and I'm finding this rib here where I'm going to attach it. So I'll just start by sewing it on, and then once I get the yarn to grip, oh, this is so hard. Once I get the yarn to grip, I'll then keep placing it and making sure that my placement is correct, running across this line. It's sort of, actually I'm gonna lay it down so I can show you better. So we'll just tuck that in. You can do this too. So if it's easier to lay it down like this, and again, just make sure that your stitches aren't grabbing both sides of the hat. So what you could do is just set up your stitch, stick your hand in, and make sure. So that's good. These can be a little finicky to attach. So I'm just gonna go along and sew that along here. Look how big that ear is. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love this hat. All right. All right, so you don't need to watch me do this. So what you're gonna wanna do is just make a second ear and repeat this on the other side of the hat. All right, so there's that little, oh, that's so cute. I love it. So I'm gonna finish up the other ear, but that is it for the tutorial. I hope that you really enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, consider subscribing. I release new videos every week. And if you like this one, be sure to check out the next video that I'm gonna link above, and that is for a bear hat. I also have a matching diaper cover pattern. If you're interested in a tutorial for that, please let me know in the comments below, and I can do one of those up. Otherwise, that is available in my Etsy shop, and I will post the link below. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me and making me part of your day. Bye-bye.